I'm Ed Hubbard. I'm the guy who runs this asylum here. We have a lot of fun here, but this is the headquarters of Wicca School. Wicca School is the first public institution for teaching Wicca that's open 24/7 to the public. Lots of other groups do public ritual and everything else, and we're supportive of those efforts. We're an online teacher. We have basically the concept that we wanted to teach was, the rule I lived our life by was that we decided at one point that we had so many people coming to us as students in Chicago, I mean in the heart of Chicago, that just in Chicago that we were just starting to teach more and more groups. And so we went and eventually turned to the internet. This is our open house. We've been here now in the community about 3.5 years. We're actually trying to become a functional community. People are coming in, moving in, buying houses. People are looking at, people are running businesses here. And one of the things that we're trying to do is not just be kind of like a Wiccan community, but we're trying to be a community, a Wiccan community, in a real community. We came to this town. Everybody always asks that question. Does anyone want to hear that? Okay. We came here because it was cheap. Don's originally from Danville, and we were building our website in Chicago. We had a lot of work to do. We were doing warehouse. We were trying to do it out of a bedroom out of my place. And Chicago was very expensive, so we came down to look at Danville. Don's from Danville, and the tradition is from this area. They'd been here for over 100 years as traditional witches and spiritualists. And in 1979, they moved into joining the Wiccan movement and defining themselves with the larger community that was. But prior to that, it was a tradition handed down by families here locally. And then Don moved to Chicago, and he infected the city of Chicago with it. To hear one of our favorite ministers phrase it. I met Don in Chicago. He met a lot of people he was teaching, and I said I wanted to teach too. In 1989, 1990, we started doing sort of a public teaching. And finally got us, eventually we got on the internet and came down here to look, and we thought it was cheap. And that's why we came here. Then they protested us, wanted us out. We learned about the media then, how powerful it is. The media started covering it, went on national news. It died down. And then a miracle happened for us. This is one of the most important details. Usually when these encounters happen, they're discriminatory, they're violent, they're ugly. The chief of police at the time invited us, Chief Drollinger invited us to come back down to make a presentation. And I'll tell you, I was very, very skeptical, and I didn't even go. But Don and some of our other members came down, and there was a lot of people there. There was many people there at this event to hear at the watch meeting as there was at the protest. We had filled City Hall up so much. They had people standing in the aisles there. They had never seen so many people at a meeting. And they had never seen so many people at a meeting and time at this other one, except they were all in favor of us coming. They were sorry that it happened. Some of them were really, really embarrassed. And that happened about a month after all the media. Now, the big thing is the media didn't cover that part. The media doesn't cover positive stories a lot of times. So we moved in the community. We still receive protests. Some of the ministers are still really hardcore against us. We get sort of institutional discrimination in some things. It's sometimes hard to get services. But we've never seen a lick of violence. There's never been any graffiti on our building. We had one incident of vandalism, and it was just kid vandalism. It wasn't intentional. They threw rocks down our pipes. There was a bunch of 10, 11-year-old kids. They just thought it was funny to watch me pull the stupid rocks out. But we've never had any violence. We've never had any threats. We've never been threatened to get out. We participate in city council. We're the opposition party, mind you, a lot of times. So there's some city council members who don't like us here. One of the local media, Just the Facts, will not advertise us, will not accept any advertising from us, or any business that is coming here that has a Wiccan or potential Wiccan attachment. But overall, the police have been great with us. The firemen are great with us. So we're here, and they even hired an economic development director. So we're part of the economic development groups. Wiccans actually doing real things about getting real things happening. So Witch School is really not just the website, and it's just not people, but it's the 7 jobs we have here. There's people all over the country who study with us. What makes a lot of difference with us is that we're an internet. We went online. I talk about this. There was once upon a time a group called One List on this wonderful new invention that had been about 4 years old, the World Wide Web, in 1998. And they had this little group system in which we had people, you can send free emails to a lot of different people. You know, listservs, groups. Today the company actually was bought out by Yahoo Groups, and today how Yahoo Groups. But in 1998, this was a pretty revolutionary idea. You know, today it's really easy. We form groups up, you know, for minutes, and it's become part of our culture. But if you look back at 1998, it wasn't really part of our culture. And we had 5 groups. We had them in, 3 in Chicago. We had 1 here that was really important. They had a second one here. Had 1 in Kankakee and 2 in Chicago. And the common thing in all the groups, at least only one person at the time, but each one had 1 person with an email. So we formed the Daily Spell. Now, mind you, we hadn't even heard of Harry Potter yet. Harry Potter was just on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, don't make no bones about it. We have an interesting relationship with Harry Potter.
Oh, sure.
He's our friend.
Yeah.
We love him to death. He's fiction. But at this time we didn't. So we started this listserv system. And we started sending emails. But we didn't close it because we didn't understand it was a public directory. We weren't that bright yet. And of course, the stroke of destiny, within a year we had 2,000 people on that list. Taking the lessons like we would teach them that. And we started with our first groups of mentors. We had 6 people who helped us because Don was so saturated. Don used to be in his kitchen, and we're working regular jobs. I mean, we do sort of all sorts of pagan things. We've done radio show, we've done magazine. But poor Don, who's trying to write these books, is now answering essay question after essay question after essay question. So we finally, in 2001, against everybody saying it was impossible to do, and everybody, I mean, we got really that. We found a young lady by the name of Lisa Tuitt, and she said, "I'll program your website for you." And on September 4th, 2001, literally a week, we were feeling raised, literally a week before 9/11, we opened Witch School. It was a very interesting time. And from that day forward, I will tell you, we've had no less than 50 members a day join our site. Ever since then. It never stops. It's at least 50 people a day. It averages out a lot higher than that when you add up all the numbers. And so, and the reason we did it is that we became an online broadcaster. We became a center of content. I don't know how many of you have come because how many of you have taken classes online. But it's okay. We're very proud of it. We love it. It's okay. Yes. Everybody here, if the people that are walking back in, most of our heavy clergy has taken it. I mean, we have probably about 100 people who learn the traditional way. If we had stuck with the traditional way of apprenticeship, you know, the simple system of apprenticeship, which was something we want to restore to the community, we just don't want to be online. Online is our mechanism to find people like mind, like thought, and get them an education. And a lot of them have their own traditions too. There's a lot of family traditions out there, a lot of groups out there who are keeping their own traditions and grabbing parts of ours as well and working with us. Because we don't impose our views on them. We ask that as long as they accept the basic creeds of Wicca. Do as you will as it harms none. In perfect love and perfect trust. Very hard words to follow, but we basically state that what it is. We're not Satanists. We don't accept Satanists. We've actually kicked people out of an organization if they get too close to Satanist groups. If they join and become like a priest, they cannot be a priest of like a satanic church and a priest of ours at the same time. If we found out, we would toss you out. It's just not allowed.
Now we have had that happen, and we did in fact put them out.
But outside of that,
it's been going on for at least decades.
Yeah.
At least.
So we do. So that's kind of it. We're also not a Christian group. Now there are some Christio-pagans. We have Christio-pagans in Corellian, but Corellian's not Christian either. We're not Christians. We're not book religion. But there are people who are Christio-pagan in the group. We don't really discriminate against core beliefs as long as you accept our basic creed. And we teach everybody.